As we get a first glimpse of the future of Circle Center Mall through pictures like the ones you're seeing now, the best perspective on the project may come from the people who led the city during the mall's rise and its decline. Greg Ballard was mayor of Indianapolis from 2008 to 2016, a time when radical changes in shopping and also the recession really started to make traditional malls obsolete.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, good morning. How are you?
I am terrific. How are you?
I'm well. You tell me. What do you think about this project? Good idea?
I do think this is a good idea. It's very bold. It's exciting. It's kind of projecting into the future. And so I have enormous faith in Adam Collins. I have enormous faith in David Roseberg at the IEDC. I think all of those, and Hendricks is a terrific partner. You can see what they've done with the Model Works and Ironworks out on 86 and Keystone. So I think this looks pretty good right now.
By the time you took office, was it clear that the mall was ending its first most useful phase and that another would be necessary, or was it really during that sort of rocky retail period that hit during your terms that reshaped our view of it?
It started to get a little bit rocky. The initial use of the mall, as I like to tell people, I remember when it was a hole in the ground.
A lot of holes, yeah.
Coming back on leave from the Marine Corps, and I remember those holes in the ground downtown, but we got that thing built. It was great for a long time, and I think it served its purpose. But even during our time, the Super Bowl, when we brought the Super Bowl in, Nordstrom had pulled out just before the Super Bowl.
We put our studio in that room for a while.
It became the huddle, if people remember that. It was actually a bonus for us. I mean, it really worked out well for us. But the fact that Nordstrom pulled out, of course, they have a very specific model that they do, and the mall wasn't necessarily moving toward that model. But still, it was a precursor to what was about to happen. Retail and Amazon and all those things kind of came together, and maybe it became a little bit less attractive. The fact that they kept it going for this long with that format, I think, says a lot of good things about the city of Indianapolis. But this is a good time to move on.
The other element that was part of that as well, and it came part and parcel with it, there was a crime issue that developed at the mall with the absence of some stores when you have vacancies. Is that when it became sort of we as a community need to deal with this rather than private entities doing business and just let it sort itself out?
I'm not sure about that. There was some crime. We had some incidents over there, particularly on weekend nights, but we kind of got that solved with the cooperation of the mall and the police department, kind of figured all that out. I think in the longer run, I think it was just the economic factors around the country, the way people were living their lives, that people were buying commodities. I think that was the more than anything else. And it is a little bit outdated. People's view of what downtown should look like, how they want to live, like in village-type concepts. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Is this a project where public money makes sense? Because we know of an IEDC loan, for instance. You mentioned IEDC Development Corporation, and there'll be tax breaks and things like that. Typically, from a conservative perspective, you'd say, no, let free enterprise handle itself. But is this one where those are good use of public money?
I'm actually a big fan of public-private partnerships. I think cities move forward with public-private partnerships. But the only thing that really, it's not concerning. It's just I wonder who's going to own the land at the end of this. Land is a foundation of the economy, and who's going to own the property like in 40 years. So I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I mean, that's one of those questions to be answered. I understand they're negotiating that right now. So, but that's something to be looked at. Other than that, I think it's really a tremendous model. And like I say, I think Hendricks is probably the right partner.
Some cities, this conversation wouldn't happen. But in Indianapolis, there is this tradition of Republican mayors, Mayors Hudnut and Goldsmith, to a Democratic mayor and Mayor Peterson, to yourself, a Republican, back to Mayor Hogshead, and somehow things stay intact. Long-range planning works. Why does that happen here?
I don't know. It's just kind of built into what we do, and it's been to our benefit, obviously, and I think most people would agree with that. But you have to think long-term on all these things. You just can't think about short-term politics or the next election. When you're dealing, especially something with our downtown and the mall, which was iconic for such a long time, we have to do the right thing. And this particular vision for this area looks to be the right thing to do to me, and so I admire everybody stepping up to do it.
Well, we appreciate you stepping up to talk to us about it this morning.
Thank you.
Rare perspective from Greg Ballard, longtime mayor of Indianapolis and now interested observer at part of his own legacy.